Did you know that with ShinePress, you keep 100% ownership of your content and receive 100% of the royalties? Discover even more benefits by scheduling your free 30-minute consultation today. They are illuminating stories and empowering authors. Go to shine-press.com to learn more. Be sure to ask for Jody. She's pretty fantastic.
Welcome to Productive Joy with Dr. Christie, where fun meets action.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Productive Joy, the recap. So this week was epic. Okay, so I have to back up. I am a part of something called podcastguests.com, and people can put in their requests to be a podcast guest. I told you this last week. And I then kind of go through and look at them. But there's a second thing that I'm a part of called book thinkers. And these are people who have written books recently and want to publicize them, which is a great thing to do when you've written a book, right? So one came from podcast guests and one came from the book thinkers this week. And both were incredible and both talked about mindset shifts. So I had two doctors, two very different types of doctors, though. One is a veterinarian who has since turned into somebody who helps people design extraordinary lives. And the other has their PhD in organizational leadership and has done some pretty cool things in that space, but is also a pastor. And okay. So let me tell you about my new friends. So Dr. Lucette Beall is the veterinarian. And she talked a lot about having an extraordinary life at any age and that there is no limits. She has lived some stuff, everything from a cancer diagnosis and dealing with that as the sole breadwinner, working a job where you have no sick leave, and then her brother having a traumatic brain injury, and she had to make the decision to take care of him, which was very difficult and also difficult on her pocketbook, and then figuring out how to save her business. But then all of that turning into a chance for her to build an extraordinary life and a system for helping others build extraordinary lives. Y'all, that's taking that big T trauma and turning it into something productive. I would call that productive joy. And then I had Dr. Greg Stewart. Dr. Greg Stewart was fascinating. So he is a pastor, but he also now works with organizations and has written a couple books, both called iCubed for individuals and iCubed for couples. And in both instances, it's about three things. And I wrote them down and want you all to understand them: information, interpretation, and intensity. I had written down intimacy, which is interesting because that could go for the couples one for sure. But information, interpretation, and intensity. Here's what I want you to take away from Dr. Greg. We, as humans, have a whole lot more influence over how we handle things than we realize. And so when someone says they're pushing when we say, she's pushing my buttons, why do those buttons exist? We have control over that. We have the ability to influence that. We as individuals can stop those negative emotions. And he has a system for doing that. So I think about it when I get frustrated with somebody at work, at home, it might be my kids, it might be my husband, it might be somebody at work. I try really hard to think about what's the trigger, right? What's causing this frustration for them? Why are they reacting the way they are? Because I said this little thing and it turned into a big thing. Anybody else ever had that? I'm going to guess you have. Dr. Greg helped us figure out how to shift that so that we're starting to look internally at ourselves. What is it about them posturing like that that's setting me off? So I think about my upbringing and some of the things that push my buttons. One of the buttons that can very easily be pushed for me is lying. Don't lie to me. I just don't. It's not okay. And it is due to some childhood traumas. And I know that about myself. So I can either let that own me or I can own it. So when somebody lies to me, I do tend to puff up and I get mad and I don't always see their point of view very well because I'm angry. And that anger comes out in snarky, sarcastic comments. So Dr. Greg helped me understand that first I need to look at the trauma that has caused that. That's my internal stuff. And then I need to decide I want to do something about it because the knowing doing gap is real. And we need to be thoughtful about avoiding getting caught in the gap in between, right? So I know better, but am I doing better? And I think that these books, both of them, whether you're in a relationship or not, the I cubed for individuals, super helpful. The I cubed for couples, if you are with a significant other, certainly helpful. I I want to live in a space where I am using all the information that's available to me to react in a way that makes sense instead of that knee-jerk anger, don't mess with me, right? I want my knowing doing gap to shrink. I want to do better because I know better. And part of the reason I know better is because of these awesome guests that I'm having the opportunity to interview. If you didn't listen this week, please go back and do so. Not because I think you should, but because I know you should. And it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the wisdom that's being imparted on you by these wonderful guests. These are people who've walked it, who've lived it, who've experienced it, and are choosing to help others through the process instead of keeping all of that knowledge for themselves. Those are the kind of people I want to spend time with. How about you? So I want to encourage you today to recognize that our mindset matters a lot, and it influences everything. So why wouldn't we want to be intentional about that mindset? We can change our minds. We can change how we see things. And that little shift will make a huge difference long term. And it's not that hard, right? I'm not saying I shouldn't say it that way. It is difficult, but it is also simple. It is well within our abilities, and it is something that we have full potential to do. So do it. That's my challenge to you today. You've been a Productive Joy listener for the last 5 minutes anyway, but maybe you've been a listener for all of the last year, or maybe you're just finding us, or maybe you're somewhere in between. You are seeking this out because you want more productive joy. Well, the number one way that you can get more productive joy is to shift your mindset that you deserve it, that you're worthy, that you should get productive joy, and that productive joy is something that is attainable. How, gosh, life-changing is that? That if we would just realize that we do have the ability to influence all of that. I don't know. I'm okay with it. I hope you are too. I hope that you are hearing this and going, yeah, you know what? Okay. I hear you. I see you. That makes sense. And I hope you'll go with that and run with it. So if you haven't looked up either one of these doctors, I suggest you do. Dr. Lucette Beall, but spelled Beall, or Dr. Greg Stewart, both of which were fascinating and smart and thoughtful and real. And I like real. They've both been through some stuff, and that stuff has made them better at who they are. So I want you to know that you're not in this alone. If you are hearing this and you're like, oh gosh, I need more of that in my life, you certainly can reach out to them, or you can reach out to me, and I would be more than happy to help. So you can email me at Christie, CHRISTIE, at aimwithus.com, or any of the socials. Just look up Dr. Christie McMullen or Productive Joy, and you'll find us. And tell me what you need, because I won't know unless you tell me. And I want more than anything for you to be successful. So today and every day, I hope that you are finding beautiful shots of B12, beautiful nuggets of wisdom that can help you figure out a way to turn fun into action.